first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you for joining us. We are live streaming here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, as we do every day, starting around 1 o'clock and going throughout the afternoon. And we cover a wide range of topics here on this show, as you've known if you've been watching today. But right now, we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence, including artificial intelligence that's being utilized by Intel for athletes and for people who are visually impaired and all kinds of other use case scenarios. It's a really interesting way to look at AI. You know, we're probably all used to seeing ChatGPT or noticing AI incorporated into search, but this is AI for a whole different purpose and multiple purposes, quite honestly. So we were able to sit down with Todd Harple about this from Intel Labs to go through some of the different ways that they envision and are using AI, and on that envision side, you know, some ways this could be utilized in the future, and some things that you can actually take advantage of right now, whether it's at the Portland airport or the Portland State University campus. So real tangible things as well that we go through in this. So let's jump right into it. Here it is, Todd, here on Fox 12 Now.
Artificial intelligence is something that I actually cover quite a bit. I find it really fascinating. And I think people are used to the concept of AI at this point. You see the term everywhere, whether it's, you know, searching online or ChatGPT, but there are so many different use cases for it. And AI in athletics is something that I find really fascinating, how you can incorporate that in, because that's such a physical feat, but how do you use AI with that? And that's something that Intel is using this year. I was hoping you could walk through some of those use case scenarios.
Yeah, and actually that's a pretty exciting use case because it has a great trajectory for us that begins at the beginning of our Olympic sponsorship back in 2017. We actually started back then training models to understand elite athlete biomechanics. And we even had the likes of Oregon's own Ashton Eaton, both on our team as well as being an athlete helping us train the systems. And it was really great. And the output of that turned out in the Tokyo Games in 2020. If you recall watching sprinters in the broadcast, and there were these color streams behind them that changed as they accelerated and reached top speed, that was some of the very same computer vision tracking technology that we're still using today, but for different purposes. And we used it in opening ceremonies in Beijing, believe it or not, when you saw people on ice looking like they were going through snow. That was actually this tracking technology, tracking over 20 points on each skater's body. And this year we've come sort of full circle and bringing it almost back to the fans. Or back to like you and me, people like us. We worked together with the International Olympic Committee, and we actually took this technology down to Senegal, where they will host the Youth Olympic Games for Dakar 2026. And we use these technologies from like a mobile lab, because really with our AI, we can use computer vision. So any video, any video of somebody doing these specific exercises, we can use our AI models and our servers and our accelerators to actually then give detailed biomechanical insight. And we can also use it to identify potential talent. So in Senegal, we went around to 6 villages, met with 1,000 kids, and from them, we came up with like 40 or 50 kids with elite potential, which is really exciting. And then we brought this lab here that actually has some of the very same exercises, and fans are trying it outside Stade de France right now.
Wow. So it's tracking all of those, it's just taking that video feed, tracking all of those different points, whatever those data points are supposed to be, that it's tracking on the actual person, and then analyzing that. And is that all happening just in real time right there on site? Is that cloud computing or based all in this mobile lab that you have?
Well, if we do it in the lab, we're doing most of it on site. But if we do it like out in the village or something, we'll do it with a video. We have very specific exercises that capture various sort of athletic aptitudes. You've got endurance, speed, power, these sorts of things. And the cool thing about this AI is we're able to do this without any sensors on the body. And because of that, it makes it that anybody can access it. I mean, in the future, we'd love to see people around the world have access to this elite insight in the smallest of countries. Then you have, you level the playing field here at the Olympics, where those countries who maybe couldn't afford to have high-end coaches can get some of the same insights.
Right. Use that insight and extrapolate that out to whatever it is that they want to do. I mean, I can see so many use cases for that technology. I mean, talk about extrapolating. I mean, just for health, for all kinds of things in that field, the medical field even. using
Yeah,
that.
we've done some physical therapy with it,
Yeah.
right in Oregon. We've done some sort of analysis of runners. We've done some thoughts on injury prevention. We can improve form so that people won't injure themselves. There's so many things we can do with this, and it's one of those technologies that we started it by building the base tools that other people then can compose into something for their own use cases. So we started it with a proof of concept for Tokyo, showed it off in Beijing again in a different way, and now we have partners out there that are taking it for scouting elite soccer talent, and we've used it at the NFL Combine. It's really exciting to see it being picked up by various people.
What's the reaction been like from the athletes that are utilizing this as well?
The athletes I've seen utilize it are just blown away, and they want more. They're like, "What else can you tell me? How much more can we do?" I mean, I remember just talking to Ashton and him being just blown away, with what was possible, and to see it just keep developing. And then we have athletes that are in the fan group. Like I've been working at our deployment of this, the AI platform experience here at Stade de France, where we bring people through these exercises and we match them to one of 10 Olympic sports that actually match their competencies. And these people come out so jazzed at the end about, wow, look at what I got. And so that underscores yet another thing is it actually gets people moving and enjoying and having fun moving. And that's a big effort that the IOC has as well, called Let's Move, which is just to make it fun to do sports to make life better.
Something else that I know, AI is being used for beyond the athletics is just management of an event like this. And there was an interesting thing you're doing about the venues and managing venues, which is a constantly evolving thing for anybody who runs something like that, but using AI to do that and to maximize the efficiency of that. Can you explain how it is that Intel's AI is doing that?
Yeah, we have a couple of applications that are helping the organizers as well as helping fans, but really to do things to make the games more sustainable, more predictable. We start with things like being able to assess how much certain parts of venues are used. So every time the Olympics comes to a new town, you go from maybe 2 or 3 active sporting venues to 30 or 40 active sporting venues. And so it's difficult to know when an athlete comes with his entourage, and by that I mean family, coaches, not like fans and people behind him, but they call it in the Olympic parlance athlete entourage or athlete family. And they come and, they have needs for food, they have needs for a place to watch things and so forth. And it's hard to right size this. And it's very critical to right size it because anything that you're not using, you could use for something else, whether it's selling seats, selling retail, hospitality. And so what we've developed, starting as far back as our very first Olympics, are systems that count people as they come into the room using computer vision or other sensor technologies. And then we use data science, some computer learning to actually know how long they're in there, how long they're hanging out, and where. So that way, and we don't have to know who they are. We just have to know, is it full? So that way we can start build models for the next day and the next day. And so you can anticipate, how do I need to staff this place? How big does it need to be? How much food? Maybe even how much heating or ventilation do I need? If there's nobody in there, I don't need to cool this on a hot summer day. I can save the energy. So that's one way we're doing this, and we're doing this in so many different venues. We've built digital twins. Have you ever heard this term?
Not until I was reading about this. So a digital twin.
Yeah, so a lot of this information gets mapped onto a digital twin. So we started this again at the beginning of our sort of arc of sponsorship back in 2017, 2018, where we make a digital copy of a real one of these venues. And this is super valuable because in the early stages, you can use it for planning, right? What might it look like as an Olympic venue? And then how does it work for accessibility? We've worked through so many use cases that they're so accurate based on our scanning and lidar technology, all the way up to using a lot of our accelerators for the AI to be able to know, hey, what kind of cameras will I need? What lenses will I need on those cameras? Where should I place them to get this shot? And so there's less travel required to the Olympic site. You can do a good portion of it remotely. It's that accurate. You can choose your lenses, you can frame up your shots, and when you get there, it's all laid out for you exactly. X marks the spot where my camera goes. And then we also use lidar, which builds a different sort of indoor map that's really detailed. LiDAR is a kind of scanner that's incredibly detailed, and we use that to improve accessibility inside these buildings. So you can have people who are sight impaired actually be able to navigate the building because between their phone as a navigator that knows exactly where they're going inside, they don't get lost. And this is a big challenge because we know that navigation works great outside, but when you're inside, it's difficult to get around. And when you consider that you have the Paralympics coming up, it's especially important for that to help people navigate. And we're super proud to be able to do this.
So when you're doing that, I mean, going back to even just scanning the stadium and rendering the stadiums, so you're just using a whole lot of different camera angles walking through there, or I guess how is it that you're actually rendering the stadium? What's the technology behind that?
We've done a number of different ways over the year. We've kind of experimented, and it's sort of a combination of ways, actually. It could be, the tools that architects use sometimes, especially for new models.
So
It
like a
could
CAD
be,
drawing or something, or whatever
yeah,
they,
yeah,
whatever
like a
you,
detailed CAD drawing, but
yeah.
think of it more like a video game. So amp it up even more than that because we've made it that we can do fly-throughs and stuff. So, for instance, if I'm coming from whatever national organizing committee, I want to see where my athletes are staying. We can do a walkthrough and show people exactly where they're staying and what they're getting. And this also helps us, for instance, if we see an accessibility issue. So, we might be able to have a Paralympic committee look at something and say, well, if somebody's in a wheelchair, they can't get from point A to the cafeteria. If we can do that while it's still being planned, so we can fix it.
Wow. I mean, and just to be able to do that and know ahead of time, and have that all mapped out there for you. And to the point of the athletes or really anyone, being able to navigate better with these kinds of scans using lidar, getting that highly detailed, accurate information. So can you walk through just maybe a use case? Because I know at PDX, some of this technology is being used, I think at PSU, and I know some other airports around, but
You're
for like the
welcome.
general public using this kind of tech.
We go through and we do a detailed scan with a lidar, and then we use AI to analyze this model, and then almost like you would use a large language model, right? You go through and it understands if I ask what does X, Y, or Z look like, or where do I get to this spot, then it makes navigable instructions from this super detailed map. So yeah, PDX and PSU are places where we've sort of developed this. In fact, PSU was an early prototype of us putting it out there. So there's definitely Oregon connections for almost all of this technology.
And I love the Oregon connection to it too, and the fact that some of that's being tested here, or was tested here and tried out. And when it comes down to it, for people who this technology can really help, when they're out there navigating, especially a new place they don't know, and to be able to have that kind of information, have you been able to receive some of the feedback from those people and just what that has changed how that has changed their experience?
It's early days for rolling out this at the games. We expect to hear a lot of feedback when we get to the Paralympics. So right now the Olympics have just started. We've got the tech rolled out, but I haven't personally heard much feedback about how it's going so far. I look forward to it in the coming weeks, though.
And yeah, as you mentioned with the Paralympics coming up too, utilizing all this. Well, Todd, I mean, thank you very much for joining us too to talk about this. This is really exciting stuff. And I guess my one last question, and this is probably hard to guess, or you can't tell me. But looking at where we're at here for this Olympics, say 5 years from now, is there any kind of idea of what we could expect of, where this tech could take us?
Well, the cool part is the whole time that we've been doing Olympic things, we've been projecting into the future, like 5 years. So we began things related to digital twins and counting back in 2017, 2018. And one of the things that we began this year was volumetric capture of interviews. So that, I think, is going to show us a vision of the future where, for instance, you'll be able to look through a screen and walk all the way around an athlete or have him there in the room with you while you're interviewing him. I mean, we can do it today. We can do it today. It ends up being just like the way it was with when we started doing, the 3D athlete tracking that led to the stuff we're doing today. This is volumetric, it's really, when you see it, it's both eerie because the person isn't there,
Right.
but it's exciting because you can bridge distance and you get a sense for scale, for you to be able to see how tall or short an athlete is side by side with yourself. It's pretty exciting. It's almost like, a Star Trek moment, and it's happening now. And we see that. I think this technology will develop further in the very near future.
That is really cool. I mean, I know I'll be shorter no matter who the athlete is, but otherwise, I look forward to seeing how that works out. I can just picture that eventually somebody watching this in their living room or something and having a 3D scan of somebody right there. But really exciting stuff. I mean, really cool to see where it's going and what you're doing with it now, and then let alone in the future. But Todd, thanks for joining us. Thanks for having some time to talk to me about this. And I know you've got, I don't know how many days are left in the Olympics, depending on when people are watching this.
So August 11th.
August 11th. Yep. So hopefully you get some downtime in there to relax as well. But either way, exciting stuff.
I hope so, and I'll see you back in Oregon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Todd.
Yep.
All right, cut off his thanks there at the very end, but we do appreciate him joining us and to all of you. So, exciting stuff, learning about where artificial intelligence is going, how it's being utilized in all of those different ways, and clearly lots more to come because it's going to be exponential as this grows. But right now, I want to say thank you for helping us to exponentially grow here for Fox 12 Now. Had to work that in there in some way. We are live here every weekday, live here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, and we cover so many different topics. And if you have an idea for a topic, feel free to send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com. That's fox12now at kptv.com, and we'll take a look and see if we can make that into a segment. Sometimes it could be, maybe you want to find out more about a story that's running on our other news shows, you want a deeper dive, we can certainly do that, or maybe it's something unique that's going on in the area that you think needs some attention. These are things that we can do here with this show, so feel free to reach out anytime. But I thank you for joining us. We'll sign off for now. Thanks to Intel for joining us there for that segment, and Todd over there in Paris. But I will talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.